the risk of sounding cynical, how much of this ultimately is fueled by the Western world's hunger for oil? Like already China is speaking sweetly to the rebels in Libya because there's no crude like Libyan crude. It's the best crude on the planet.
They could be the richest country in the
And
world.
and they're talking to Libya like America used to talk
Yes.
to countries after a war.
Yes.
We'll help you rebuild. We'll help you stabilize. You know, yada yada yada. But if Iran ascends, to a point of great influence there, to the great fear of Saudi Arabia and Jordan and Egypt and let alone Israel, you got the Straits of Hormuz. You got the oil that flows through there every day. It could be stopped. Iran could hold the whole world ransom in that sense. How important is oil?
Oil is a major player in what's happening in our world today, the whole world, but in particular in the Middle East. You were talking about China. They have come into all of these countries in the Middle East, even including Africa, and locked up the oil in all of these countries, friendly to Libya right away. By the way, I noticed the European Union is sending their oil experts back into Libya. I mean, what was the reason for taking out Gaddafi? To get a hold of those oil fields or whatever. Doesn't matter. That's a political perspective or factor in the entire Middle East. But China is controlling every sea lane all the way back to China so they can move those petroleum products back into China. They're the largest user of petroleum products in the world today. But every single time an American or a Canadian or anybody in the world drives up to a gas tank and fills up, they are fueling what's happening in the Middle East. And so it is absolutely the key component of what's unfolding in the Middle East today. I was in a meeting in a little place called Titusville, Pennsylvania. Don't know if you ever heard of it, but a man named Drake, 1859, drilled the first hole to extract oil through a well there in Titusville. And that started what we see unfolding today. And that they're drilling the oil, bringing it out of the ground. Saudi Arabia, number one, Iran, number two. What is so interesting, Iraq is number three, and maybe even more supply or better source of oil than Saudi Arabia or Iran. And the fact is, they've only taken 2% out of the ground. That's why you're going to see continuing conflicts. Everybody's fighting for that oil dollar. You have Tayyip Erdogan sending his military into northern Iraq, killing the Kurds. Well, the Kurds control the northern part of Iraq, and those are the major oil fields there in Iraq. So oil, Jim, you're right on target. Oil is a key player in the whole situation in the Middle East.
Now, what I want to do tomorrow is talk to you about how all of this relates to the scriptures. We've taken two interviews now. We've kind of set it up from a geopolitical perspective, but you're convinced the Bible has something to say about this.
I'm absolutely positive. I base my life on it.
Yeah, okay, well, the book is called Israel Under Fire, The Prophetic Chain of Events That Threatens the Middle East, co-authored by John Ankerberg and Jimmy DeYoung, who is our guest here today. And you can get it this way. It's a 3-day offer. 1-800-265-3100 is the phone number. In fact, I think you better call right now because this thing's going to be flying off the shelves. Or log on to crossroads.ca. Either of those coordinates will reach us. And of course, we want you to, in a quid pro quo kind of way, I say that without apology, support this ministry because we are always fueled, if you will, by the support of faithful viewers, as you know, because we do not sell commercial time. And we are totally dependent on you as the Lord leads you to support this ministry. But this is a book you're going to find really, really fascinating. So we'll be back tomorrow, and we're going to talk about the scriptural perspective on what Jimmy DeYoung has so articulately described over these last two interviews. We'll be back tomorrow.